Hello, everyone, and welcome to Snap Take. Happy Saturday. It is May, and we've got four great decks for you. I'm not going to waste any time, but we've got a sleeper deck you're not going to get anywhere else, a creation of my own that I'm absolutely crushing with that you've got to try. However, we're going to start it with the deck that's taking the meta by storm. This is a needs to know about deck. We had it actually in the top 10 decks video, but at the very end, and that's a very long video, so we wanted to make sure it's up front so you know about it. This is Dera's Hydra Stomper list. It's got a low 60s% win rate, a top 10% infinite, and it is absolutely everywhere right now. You can find Dera streaming. He's one of the biggest streamers at twitch.tv/DeraJN. This deck needs Batrock, Manaweb, Topaz, Hydra Stomper, and Sam. Unfortunately, they are all sort of a package together in this list, so you do need them all. That is all the cards in the deck that are high series, and you need them all. I'm really sorry, but on the plus side, at least two of them are Series 4, and one is a Season Pass. So if you keep up to date with those, you should have a reasonable shot here. All right, so Batrock is here because you're moving a bunch of stuff. You should be able to move something almost every turn with this list. If you are able to move something almost every turn, Batrock is a 112. Even if you draw it a little later, it ends up like a 1-6 with even one move played toward the end of the game as a 1-4. That's an ahead of rate one drop. Batrock is incredible and thus in the list. Ghost Spider is here for a lot of different cards, but the main card it's here for is Human Torch. You should be able to make a relatively big Human Torch very, very quickly using Ghost Spider. The play pattern goes something like this. Madam Web mid, Topaz left. You play that Human Torch into the Madam Web. Therefore, you will immediately have a 4-power Human Torch under Madam Web. If you can move it out of that Madam Web and then pull it back with Ghost Spider, you at 8-16. When you move it one more time, you have 32, and that's a win. The other real use for the card is it's really solid with 2099 as just a quick destroy, a quick way to target something, although 2099 is obviously a very expensive card. Madam Web is great for Human Torch. It's great for 2099. It's really solid, in fact, for just getting some cards onto Craven, making sure you don't get clogged. It's a very powerful card in this list. It's also very good to throw things into the Topaz lane. It is all around a very underrated card in this list. It seems like it's not going to be that good, and then you try it, and it's all of a sudden absolutely great. Sam Wilson is, even with Madam Web, fairly often going to be your play on two because Sam and Craven together, especially if you've got Batrock out, is just so much power. Sam into Craven is going to be every time the shield moves, it gives +2 power, and then Batrock gets +2 power, which turns that into fundamentally a 4 scalar. That's a lot of work to get your own Scream, but it is still worth it and a ton of power in Marvel Snap. Craven obviously works amazing with Sam Wilson. You can play, works great with Batrock. You can Ghost Spider something onto it. You can Madam Web stuff on it all the time as you choose. Spider-Man can hit it. Silk can hit it multiple times, so on. Spider-Man is just your one little extra move card. It's a little strange to see him in this list without Scream. He's largely a card that is relegated to Scream decks, but he's very solid here just as a way to sort of get stuff out of the way. It's useful. It's not the best card in the deck, but it is a very useful thing to have. Silk and Batrock together can be dangerous. Be a little careful when you're planning on playing both. You want to strongly consider whether or not that is your best play when you do so. However, Silk is an incredibly consistent card. If you don't have Batrock early and you end up playing Silk, Silk alone usually makes Hydra Stomper like a 9 or 10 power card, while the Batrock and Sam Wilson thing will make Hydra Stomper a 9 or 10 power card. You do have to be wary of being clogged. Silk does take some skill to play, and she should probably just be a 2/6, but she is a very good card. Hydra Stomper is one of the main ways this deck gets power. Between Silk, Batrock, the shield, and everything else, Hydra Stomper should be a 10-11 power card, which is powerful in Marvel Snap, obviously. Topaz gives you an auto move almost every turn if you want. If you get the Topaz Madam Web thing going, you're getting multiple moves in a turn. That's amazing for Hydra Stomper. That's amazing for scaling things up. It's just a very useful place to be. And in the process of moving all this stuff, you get a 1/6 Miles Morales. 1/6s are good. Again, that Batrock is bigger. It's kind of absurd because I don't have to actually do work for Batrock. I just do what the deck does. While Miles Morales, I have to actually like make a 1/6. And then finally, 2099 just plays for like a 5, often like a 512, 513. But hey, sometimes it's like a 520. It's completely random what it's going to hit. I really, really wish they would just redesign this to hit a better card or be a 4-drop. But as the case, or go back to being a 4-drop, like a 4/7 would be great for this. But as a 5/9, it is a little awkward in terms of cost curve, but it does play for a lot of power, especially when it hits. This is down to a 60% win rate in now a pretty good sample, like a 61% win rate in around 100 games. This is a top deck that is worth knowing. There is no super obvious snap condition with this list unless you get the Human Torch stuff going, and that's a little rough. So turn 1 is Batrock, turn 2 is Sam over Madam Web, turn 3 Topaz or Craven. If you played Sam, you generally want Craven. If you played Madam Web, you generally want Topaz. Turn 4 is a 2+2, and then turn 5 you want 2099 on the Madam Web Topaz, or if you've got a Ghost Spider to use with it. Then last turn of the game, you're going Stomper with whatever else you can, and you should be able to win the game because everything in your deck is scaling up so effectively. This is sort of a low to the ground. This feels, in playing it, not totally dissimilar to playing the Havoc Good Stuff small cards deck, in that it's playing a bunch of small stuff really effectively. We're going to get to the thumbnail deck momentarily, but before we do, I'd like to invite you to please hit that sub button if you're willing. We do 7 days a week of Marvel Snap videos here. We haven't missed a day in well over 2 years. If you want the most and the most consistent Marvel Snap content with exclusive decks you can't find anywhere else, please hit that sub button and a like and a comment. Help us out with that YouTube algorithm. In addition, we're giving away an Esme Cuckoo this week. Well, we're giving away like 5 Esme Cuckoos this week. We are posting 7 videos this week. 5 of them will carry Esme Cuckoos in them in the comments. All you have to do is sub, like, and comment. Very simply, leave your comment in the description to this video, in the comment section of this video, and you are entered to win an Esme Cuckoo. Same thing for yesterday's video, the day before's video, and every video this coming week. If you want a free Esme Cuckoo, this is the place to be. Tomorrow's video will also announce the winner of our very last Captain Carter, so if you want to go back earlier in the week and leave some comments, they can enter you to win a free Captain Carter as well. Next up, we've got our easiest Surfer Redux. We don't build decks all the time here on this channel. We mostly try and feature other people, but I had this Surfer deck, which around, let's say, December to January of this past year, which is somehow like 5 months ago, was one of the best decks. And I hadn't thought of it in forever. I just completely forgot the deck. I made the original version of this, and it became the best Surfer for like, I don't know, a month-ish. And then over time, people started playing things that went taller than it, and it started having problems. I got a message from Splat earlier, and we'll take a look at Splat's deck in tomorrow's video, so keep that in mind. I got a message from Splat earlier that he was playing Nakia again. And I went, oh my god, that deck with Captain Carter. Because you have 2 things that you really want to buff in this deck. You want to buff Brood and you want to buff Shaw, right? Well, now I really want to buff Captain Carter. And oh my god, buffing Captain Carter with all these extra cards, all these extra ways to buff her, sends this deck's power level through the roof. I felt incredibly strong. I beat the number 5 player in the world with this. I beat multiple top players with this. This felt absolutely incredible. I went 9-1. My only loss was to Bullseye. If you'd like to see me stream this type of deck, please check twitch.tv/PulseGlazer. I should be live today for just about 2 hours. Something like 2 to 4 p.m. is my general goal. This deck needs Carter, Shaw, and Galacta. Those 3 are non-negotiable. Red Guardian can be Mobius. It could be other 3s, but Mobius has some extra efficiency, extra use in this meta. Phastos can be Hope. That is a acceptable replacement for Phastos. Phastos is great here. The 3/4 really is nice, giving a buff to this deck. And Makari is also very important, but Rocket and Groot or another extra 3-drop is a fine replacement. You can even go with an extra 2-drop if you're finding that you're short on 2s. Sam Wilson is never a card you're super sad to have, although this deck does want for board space reasonably often. Card by card. America Chavez is great to hit almost anything in this list. If it hits Brood, Shaw, or Carter, you're like in heaven, right? But I've hit Galacta with it, and all of a sudden a 4/7 Galacta is a lot bigger than people expect. That's really, really nice. You're perfectly fine hitting like a Makari and getting a free 6 power that you can scale further. Nakia as a 3/5 all of a sudden looks way better. America Chavez is shockingly decent in this list. Like, she's not the best card. She's probably the first cut if you're looking for a cut. But I also really like having her as a 1-drop or a free card to play behind Captain Carter at the end of the game. Because sometimes last turn, you're going to get like one random like 2-cost Surfer, right? From Phastos, and you're just like, oh, I have that 1 extra energy. Great. I'm going to drop that behind Captain Carter, and now I don't have to play my Brood there. I can use my Brood to try and win another lane. And it ends up playing as like a 1/8 in that situation, and that's really, really nice. Forge is here. Forge is generally meant to be your turn 5 play, but you don't always see your turn 3 play. Your turn 3 play would like to be Phastos or Nakia. Phastos if all your best cards are in deck, Nakia if all your best cards are in hand. But once in a while, you're going to not have Phastos and Nakia, and you're going to be sitting there with Captain Carter and Shaw. Feel free to play Forge on 2 in those cases. If not, it's generally better on turn 5. The buff is, again, amplified. It's a +4 buff on Shaw, right? It's a +6 buff on Brood, and it can be up to a it's +2 for Carter, but then that leads to another +4. So it's +6 on Carter. That's a lot of buff from Shaw, who's great here. Okoye feels like she's too small until you realize that you're going to play a card on 3, you're going to play a card on 4, you're going to play a card on 5, and you're going to play 2 cards on 6. Fairly often, those are the Okoye cards, which makes her play for about a 2/8. Just playing Brood, hitting Brood makes that play for 2 more, Carter again 2 more, Shaw again 2 more, right? So all of a sudden, Okoye is playing for like a 211, 212, and she's a really worthwhile card to play in this list. I know it seems crazy, but it really does work. The downside is that she's not really useful after turn 2. Brood is either your last turn play or your turn 5 play, almost always here. It with Galacta is a 5/15. It behind Carter is absolutely amazing. You don't even need both all 3. Just 2 Broodlings behind Carter is often enough. It hit by Forge is a real threat. And you've got obviously Okoye and Nakia to sort of give it that fake buff, or Fastos to give it that fake buff or make it cheaper. Brood just is insane in this deck. It's arguably the best card, even despite everything else. I think it's probably Galacta, but it could be Brood. Carter is what gives this deck legs right now. This deck just wasn't putting up enough power. I was able to beat, the Abomination Ajax deck. They got in a, I forget the name of the stupid location. Help me. The name of the location is the one that all the power comes from, whichever one that is. Like, all this is the location that gives its power to all others. That thing. We all know what I'm talking about, right? Help me out here, friends. Names of locations are always my weak sauce, but I was able to beat there was an Ajax with a Abomination with a Rocket and Groot with a Abomination, Rocket and Groot, Abomination, Rocket and Groot, um Miles and Abomination. Sorry, Ajax, Abomination, Miles, Rocket and Groot, all in that one lane, right? And I was able to use Captain Carter to still win that lane. Captain Carter with a Shaw behind her with a Surfer just felt incredible. Like it won. It just rolled. And the other card in that lane was like a 5-power Nakia or something. Like it wasn't anything special. And I played all that other stuff on Carter and I got to like a 40-power lane and I was able to win. You just put up so much power. You're often putting up 30-power lanes in this, which is enough to win most games of Marvel Snap. The people have to disrupt you or you were just putting up too much power. Thank you, Captain Carter. This feels like one of her best homes. Surfer is your end game power spike, obviously. Giving plus again, remember that Surfer is giving +2 to every 3, but Brood is 3 threes. Carter is has 2 cards behind her that it's also giving that +2 to, and Shaw is getting +4. So it's amazing. Nakia is one of your 2 possible turn 3 plays. Once in a while, you're just gonna draw Captain Carter, Fastos, and Captain Carter, Brood, and Shaw, and you're gonna have Fastos and Nakia in hand. You're gonna be like, oh man, you play Nakia, and all of a sudden, at least they're decent, right? You still have Forge for them later. You still hopefully draw Galacta and Surfer for them, but at least you have Nakia to make it like all of a sudden Brood is a 3/9. People don't play around that necessarily, right? All of a sudden, Shaw is starting at a 3/7. Carter is starting at a 3/3, which is really, really great. All of these are great plays, and just hitting anything with +1 is pretty good, as we discussed with Okoye. Red Guardian is your answer to problem cards. Red Guardian is very powerful. I was able to beat a negative because, I mean, Iron Man is just sitting there naked, right? And this deck has so much power that it often has prio, and you're able to do stuff like that with Red Guardian. Red Guardian can also just like, you don't really, really want to deal with the bullshit of a Strange Supreme. It handles problems along those lines. Makari is free power, right? Without doing any extra nonsense, Makari can jump behind Carter, which is pretty awesome. Yes, Makari can, with hit by Okoye, Fastos, Nakia, can be like 5, 6, 7 power. That is free. That you can still hit with Surfer. A free 6, 7, 8, 9 power card is amazing and should be run. Fastos negative you don't care nearly as much about as the strength buff in this deck. The negative is nice because you don't always have a second 2 to play on turn 5, right? So if you get like, oh, hey, look at that, I've suddenly got a 2-cost Red Guardian, I can play that on turn 5 with my Brood, for example, and that's perfectly fine. 3/4 means Fastos is no longer like terrible feeling to play. It is often better than Nakia, literally just because of that, but it is very nice. Shaw gets huge. Shaw is sitting often at like 15, 20 power in this list. It is a lane winner out of nowhere. There are games where I've hit Okoye and Fastos on Shaw, which is 7 power +2 9 power +2 11 power, and then I save the Forge. I played like the Brood first on turn 5, and I save the Forge, and then I can play Shaw on that turn, and it's already like what did I say? 11 power, let's say 11 power. And now I'm adding 4 more, it's 15 power. I'm adding 4 more with Surfer, it's 19 power. If I hit it with Galacta, which I can also do sometimes, um, It's now like 24, 25 power, double highest power card in a location. Shaw is capable of winning alone. It's really, really great for a ton of things. And then Galacta is just the biggest buff you can get. She is amazing on. I tend to prefer Brood and Carter to Shaw for her. Shaw is nice, but Shaw still gets the bonus +2, right? It's only +1 on Shaw, whereas it is bigger than that on Brood and Carter. I went 9-1 on this with a 90% cube win rate and 19 cubes. I'm gonna play a lot more of this. This felt incredibly good. I'm gonna bully some of my top ranked friends into playing this too. I bet you this deck just rocks right now. Like this felt like it had zero freaking problem rolling Thanos. It was just too much stats. If they're really, really good with Cosmo, I can see that being a problem. But like that's just my Carter lane, man. Like they're like, all right, I'm gonna go really big here and drop Cosmo. It's like, okay, Carter, buffed Carter there, and then I can just play a couple of cards behind it, and that should be big enough to compete. Turn 1 America, turn 2 Forge of Shaw or Carter, but usually just Okoye. Turn 3 Fastos is better than Nakia, usually. Buffed Carter and Shaw are fine. Red Guardian if you have a really clear hit. Galacta is almost always your turn 4 play, and oh my god, when Galacta costs 3 and you can go Galacta into on turn 5, that feels nice. Galacta on turn 4 is better than a 3. Forge and Carter, or Shaw Brood on turn 5, all fine. Sometimes if you have Galacta, you're going to Galacta that Shaw Brood Carter card, and then instead you're going to play Forge after to save that extra buff, but it should be fine either way. And then turn 6, Carter, Shaw, Brood, and Surfer, and you should win because you put up like 30 power in at least 2 lanes. Once more, I absolutely love this list, and I cannot urge you enough to give it some play. I think you'll absolutely love it. Please check me out on stream again later today at around 2 p.m. Eastern at twitch.tv/pulseglazer. Next up, our season pass question is really simple. How did you like this past season, the Captain Carter season? How did you like the cards? How did you like the game? How did you enjoy the return of Voltage? Everything. What is your overall impression of this past season? Next up, we have Eeka's Scream Clog. This is an absolutely stellar deck. Eeka's Scream Clog is a top-notch deck. It is capable of clogging the entire board, locking up opponents in a very, very serious way, while also having the power of a Scream deck. Eeka's just cooking on fire right now. Giving him 4 new cards was like almost unfair to the game Marvel Snap in terms of how many different cooks he was able to come up with. You can find Eeka at twitch.tv/Eeka_MTS. This deck needs Scream, Batrock, and Sam. There are no replacements, but that's the only high series cards here, so that's pretty good. Shang could be Cannonball. I think might want to be Cannonball, but could be Cannonball. Hood is here largely for Viper. You send that over, it's an extra clock card. Batrock is here because it gets reasonably big. If you get an extra move, like move Sam's shield into a clogged lane, Batrock is often big enough to just win that lane without a lot of extra work. Titania is one of the best clog cards in the mid game because you play Titania with either Viper or Green Goblin. It sends over something that can turn a lane where opponents had 2 free spaces into a lane they had none, and a win for you. You play on turn 6 back in that Titania lane. You get 5 power back. They lose 5 power, and your other card that you played there is ideally the demon is also extra power. That's an 11. That's a 16 power swing in what was a clogged lane for a win. Scream is the best scaler in the game, and usually I say this about Rocket and Groot in other decks, but Scream is what ties this deck together. As you're moving things around, you're clogging them and lowering their power, which is really great. Sam Wilson is super key for Batrock while also being a buff for Craven. Very good card. 2/7 is nothing to sneeze at. Obviously, again, buffing Craven regularly is really good. Spider-Man gives you a further Craven buff, a further way to clog opponents, as does Polaris. Polaris gives you a further Scream or Craven buff while also giving you a way to clog them. Green Goblin and Debris are clog cards. You generally Debris on 4. 3, Goblin on 4. Same idea for Viper. Viper and Goblin are very similar. Hood and Viper works the same as Goblin and Titania, more or less. And then Shang-Chi is because power must be controlled. So turn 1, Batrock over Hood. Turn 2 is Scream, which is more or less equal to Sam, which is better than Craven, which is better than a 1-drop. If Scream, Polaris. If Sam, Craven, Debris is better than Green Goblin. Turn 4, Viper with Hood or Titania, Goblin and Titania. If you get a clog, you should snap because they're probably going to run soon. You want to get those extra cubes over 2/2. The beauty is, as you're playing Scream and Craven, they don't expect to be clogged fairly often, and you should be able to sneak that in. Turn 5 is 4, same thing as 4. And then turn 6 is Shang plus Demons, and you should be able to win. That's why Cannonball might make more sense here. This list is a beaut. I don't know how else to put it. It's a beaut. It's totally unexpected. Go forth and steal cubes with it. If you'd like to see some gameplay from these decks outside of me, check out the stream team before I'm live. If you want to get on early, our friend Fothor Newman should be live playing a bunch of the best decks of the week. Go check them out. Next up, we've got Strange and Beef. It's a Jet deck. Jet has put together another beast of a deck. He has a 65% win rate with this, and yes, Jet is an absolute beast at Marvel Snap, but this is still such a cool list. We had to feature it. I know a lot of you really love Jet decks. You can find Jet at twitch.tv/Jet13. There are 5 E's in Jet's name. This needs Phoenix Force, Misery, Victoria Hand, Strange Supreme, and Frigga. Strange Supreme is finding homes again. I thought for a minute there he was just going to be a Thanos deck and I was going to feel bad, but all of a sudden he is finding all these extra homes. We've got more of that coming tomorrow. Nico can be Carnage. Iron Patriot can be Mirage. Nice and simple, right? Okay. So the hood is here largely so you can hit with Misery. Extra demons are incredible. They either make your Strange Supreme ungodly big or they work amazingly with Victoria Hand. Either which way, you are fine there. Misery is the only way outside of Nico to handle the hood, so be a little careful with it. Feel free to turn it into a demon or blow it up to draw 2. Quinjet's really good because you're generating cards through Iron Patriot, through Frigga, and you want them to be cheaper where possible. Nice and simple, very clear once more. Nico is here largely to blow up Hood or turn Hood into something, but it's also very, very good to copy a Victoria Hand, to copy a to copy a demon, to copy a Strange Supreme. You're perfectly happy to do that. Sam Wilson is just a 2/7 in power, which is pretty good. It feeds Strange Supreme the turn it's played, also pretty good. Shadow King is your late game surprise. I win, get extra cubes card. Strange Supreme is huge power. It eats a bunch of stuff, particularly if you play Shauna. It's really, really good and gets immediately huge, and is a lane winner in and of itself. You can copy it. It may eat the other Strange Supreme, but that's not like the end of the world, largely because of the presence of all the other powerful stuff in the deck. But like, you've also got Shauna, so it's less likely to eat the second Strange Supreme, right? It'll also get copied at its current power, so if you played it and then it ate the Sam Shield and then you frigate it, it won't eat the next turn, but you will get that extra power. You will get a 2/4 Strange Supreme. Iron Patriot gives you something big to eat and just a big surprise card. Shadow King and Iron Patriot are your big surprises here. Victoria Hand is a nice strength buff for your whole board. It doesn't really matter for the Strange Supreme, but it's an alternate way to win games. You can copy Strange Supreme or Victoria Hand with Frigga. Thus it is in the deck. It's cheaper by Quinjet. You're also happy to copy a Hood. Shauna is how you play 2 Strange Supremes, because that tends to give you enough cards to eat for both of them without them just eating each other, although sometimes RNG will be against you. Phoenix Force gives you, generally speaking, an extra Hood, but an extra Iron Patriot's really good. You're happy for all of these. You want all the demons. You want all the demons. And Misery lets you play Phoenix Force while also giving you a way to answer Hood. You also have access to a very specific play here where you go Hood on 1. I don't really care what you play on 2. Let's say Sam Wilson or whatever. Then on turn 3, you go Demon and Iron Patriot. On turn 4, you Misery that pile. You now should have 3 demons and 1 that Iron Patriot lane. That is a snap condition. This one has a 65% win rate. Turn 1, Hood if Misery. Turn 2, Strange is better than Hand, is better than Sam, which is equal to Iron Patriot. White means snap condition. Green means potential snap condition. Frigga, Stranger Hand on turn 3 is better than Shauna, which is equal to 2 Demon Iron Patriot. Or the Demon Iron Patriot play goes here. Turn 4, you generally want a Misery, but 2 + 2 is fine. Turn 3, Phoenix Force or Hand, Frigga or generate some cards so you can play some stuff at the end of the game. And then turn 6, play what's next, ideally a bunch of demons and Shadow King or an Iron Patriot card and Shadow King, and then you should be able to win. Really, really cool list. Props to Jet, as always, for being one of the most original people in the game. Always Phoenix Force Misery, but always a really cool and different way to do that makes us very happy to feature Jet. All right, question of the day. We have a simple one. Quid Pro Joe says, Marvel Snap gives you an avatar you can open Spotlight Cash. An avatar. Not even a variant. Not even a card. A tiny little picture of a card you wish you had. It's like being given the crust of a sandwich instead of a whole lunch. Discuss. Wouldn't it make more sense if avatars unlocked with the matching variant? Like, oh, here's your gorgeous new Magneto variant, and bam! Here's the matching avatar so you can level and show it off. That's a reward, not a consolation prize wrapped in a Spotlight Cash like it's something special. I'm getting all verklempt. Talk amongst yourselves. Yeah, man. Couldn't agree more. You nailed it, Joe. They do it because they need extra shit to throw in these packs because they're not going to be like crazy generous, right? Because they want us to spend, but it royally sucks. Next up, we've got patreon.com/snapjudgments. Please do check us out if you're interested in supporting the show a little bit more. We got plenty of tiers of support. Certain tiers of support come with on-air thanks, and I got to run, so I'm going to go through this quickly. Our patron of the month is Bricks to Collect. We got Abigail, Senator Bernard, Eric Carlos, LAB, Inc., Iron Frostman, Hotel Never Think, Poker Prime, Ryan Burke, Ryan Wood, Ren Wrench, Garrett Tixley, Quarry, Kazushi, Archangel 3K, Black Dahlia, Professor, The Goat Secret Code, Hollowed, Only Fox, Synth, Fat Dick, Absolute Shannon, Nightmare, Dirty Chasm, Mr. Revel, Cables, Ginger Prime, Philip, Rakovich, Haplo, Kenny Loggins of the Dangers of the Business, Black Sheep, 23, Exorcist, Skippy G, Jessica, Mr. Slusher, The King Rose, Great Kazoo, Werewolf, Kevsioda, Ludicrous, Clam, Colonel Forbin, Rob Sullivan, M. Holland, David G. Wingfield, Stephen Brown, Coffin, Tristan H. Martin, Jason B, Mr. Craig Sterry, Matt V, and Corey, Corwin, John Q, and Jimmy McHugh, Corey really does tie that little area together. This out 8 Sage, One Big Man, Bookman, For Reals, Cactus Jack, Reaper, BG, Good Pro, Joe, Snapchat, Scissor Joe, DeCarlo, Models, Not Supreme, Green, nope, Boombot, Green Goblin, Unibot, Flan 56, Lee, Fuzz, Spectrum X, Hoot, Oculars, Matty, TJ Mechanic, Noflex, Nick the Greek, Toxic Soul King, Zodrix, The King Canna, Deadman Falcon, Falthor Newman, Jonesy, Two Ties, The Great Lord as the Pirate King Tucker, and of course, Gunning T, where the T stands for. Thanks for watching. I should be live in a little bit. You will have at least one video tomorrow as well. I'll see you for that. Hopefully the podcast comes out either today or tomorrow. It'll definitely come out either today or tomorrow. Make sure you're there for it. And I'll see you for that. And thanks so much for the love and support. Appreciate you. Peace.